Hi, my name is Zachary Angela, and I just wanted to go over the kind of the same old tagging program, but I wanted to kind of explain why I'm doing it and sort of its purpose and what I guess you can get out of it. I made a little diagram just because I felt as though it's easier to kind of explain what's going on instead of just saying, well, it runs tags, it makes tags. Um, so yeah, you have the sentence right here. It basically runs the functions for POS tagging and NER tagging. Uh, POS tagging is basically like, nouns, verbs, adjectives, whatever. NER tagging is basically like action, um, object. They're basically like POS tags. They just have a little bit more context. Um, Phrase tagging then is kind of trying to look at both of these and as the sentence is structured, sort of. So, if you go to, um, I guess you go to main, and you sort of have, let's just say for simplicity's sake, you have this sentence sort of. Um, create a database named inventory. And when it goes through here, it starts to break down each one of these words basically into like, let's say NN, which is for noun. A is DET. It just basically means it's a word that kind of ties other words in together, so on and so forth. So you get a bunch of these like tags, right? And then the nerd kind of does the same thing. You have, like I said, action, object, whatever it is that it's tagging each one of these words. The phrasing comes in because it utilizes both of these, but it does it in a way that, if the second token is, has nerd tag of action, and the current token has or is is the POS of and whatever it is, it tries to kind of break apart the sentence and try to create a phrase, or at least try to attempt to understand what the phrasing is. So there's already some kind of predictionary calculations, I guess you could say, going on inside the phrasing. And then you have dependency tagging, which is basically trying to utilize all these in order. It's somewhat more on the level of phrasing, using these two really, in that it's trying to take the sentence and try to break it down to see how each word is dependent upon the words next to it, sort of. So, it's another level of, I guess you could say, mixing up tags and token order to try and get some context of what's going on. And hopefully, when these are correct, which are not 100% right now, they are kind of getting there. They're not there yet, though. As you can see, this is not correct, but I'm slowly working my way through it. You each time I change some, it sort of cascades a little bit. It's not to say that they're incredibly wrong. It's just you need them to be ordered a certain way so that when you do this or this, it is more correct, or you know what you're looking for more. Otherwise, you end up creating code that doesn't do anything because it's looking in certain orders for certain words with certain tags. Basically, um, this stuff. Well, no, that's not a very good example. I guess you could say like this: integer or token I, and then token I plus one field. As you can tell, it can get epically complicated, and it's not 100% correct. That's just how it's gonna kind of be. I did turn a lot of it into a switch statement, even in the POS tag. I did. I think a lot of it. May still need to do more, but as you can tell, it's a big switch statement, and that's a little bit quicker. Although there are certain things that kind of rely upon, staggered checking, I guess you could say, depending upon the tags that come out of it or whatever in certain orders. But, whatever. So yeah, so it does like the nar tag action, relation, determiner, and then there's the phrase tagging where it tries to pull up the phrases. And then this is the dependency one, which is sort of like, I guess you could say, a mixture more of nar and POS tagging, but a layer on top, whereas phrasing is like trying to determine an actual set order, whereas this is tagging the order itself, I guess you could say. And so, why have all this kind of crazy, like contextual understanding of tagging of words? I'm not trying to create an LLM. I'm just trying to make it so that when you do, let's say, write a command, whatever it is, there's some kind of contextual value to the wording so that you're free then to use this tagging however you please as far as what you think the code or command should do. So, I mean, you tend to want to stay high level when you're doing that, sort of, just because if you get low level, it may be more exact, but there's more chance of error. Whereas if you stay high level, there can be more problems, but the understanding of the context is, I guess, more understood, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it can have errors in the sense of it not doing totally what you think it should be doing. But the point of that is to try and get this part more correct, so that this, or phrasing. I mean, obviously you'd want to use a combination of phrasing and dependency tagging to try to make sure that it's more exact. Because to build something that like fully understands things, even LLMs aren't very good at that. So at least in maybe your realm of what you want your program to do whatever with. So and at the end of the day, you don't really want some that just look for words because I always word things this way, so it's okay. Well, maybe that's okay for you. If you're going to build a program for somebody else, they may not word it like this whatsoever. And you're not going to be able to get all phrasing or slang or whatever it is. Capitals, non-capital, But the whole point is to hopefully make it so that you don't have to dig through menus or lists or drop downs or all that stuff in order to get to the function that you want to run, maybe in a certain order, and have certain names and have a certain context and so on and so forth. it obviously is a cost benefit thing because you have your own realm of things you do, and then you have a certain way of talking, but then other people do, but they also may not always generally use the same kind of functions you use. So you want to have something that hits the 80/20 that makes it as correct as possible when you're trying to create some for other people so that they can utilize what's going on so they don't get so frustrated. I guess that's a good way of explaining it. But yeah, it seems to run relatively quickly. It's not. It still needs work, obviously, but as far as doing any kind of predictive modeling or whatever, I mean the tagging kind of already is in a sense. Um, if you're gonna use it for other languages, I could see maybe using a model because you have certain key things that are translatable into other languages. But as far as English goes with commands, I mean, maybe if you're going to use this or want to branch this out into, I don't know, not computer commands, but showing data or some other plateau, um, yeah, you might need a little more predictive understanding of words and their context and their order. Um, I don't know. There's a lot to that. But yeah, so I just wanted to make some to explain all that and what I've been doing. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.